What's going on, friends, friends, and Thramley? It is a marvelous Monday here in the United States of Siege. In fact, it is President's Day, for whatever the fuck that is worth right now. And before I get into anything else, just a reminder that Minneapolis, Minnesota is still under fucking siege, as well as other parts of the country at this point, right? Like, Metro Surge has not ceased its reign of terror. They may have changed the name, but the game is still the same. So please be on the lookout for any types of mutual aid you can provide. Any links I find that'll be helpful, I will try my best to share because we are all in this shit together. So, in honoring the memories of Keith Porter, Alex Preddy, and Renee Good, we got to stand with Minnesota. We've got to stand with Maine, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, everywhere that is currently being infested by ICE. We got to stand together. Okay, so now that we've gotten that important message out of the way, let's just take a moment for a second. I know I didn't set the stage for this, but let's just take a moment and divorce ourselves from the fact that we are currently living in the midst of the hellscape, just to laugh at how completely dark and fucking wild this timeline is. Because if we don't laugh, we're gonna fucking cry, right? So, in case you missed it, let's just go through 3 things that actually occurred within the past week, right? So, one, ICE mentioned that they would, even possibly be outside of a Cardi B concert at some point, right? Trying to arrest some of her fans. Cardi responded with saying, if ICE wants to show up and try to get her fans, they're going to beat their asses. Go Cardi. ICE wanted to fire back and actually, like, the official government agencies fucking, online decided they were going to beef with Cardi. And, basically said, well, as long as, we're not getting drugged or whatever at your concert and robbed at your concert, then that'll be okay. I guess it's a step up. Cardi then fired back and won. Basically said, you want to talk about drugging people, how about we talk about the girls you drugged that are in them Epstein files? What? Yes. So, the government beefing with Cardi B. That's one. 2, staying with the music theme. Dig deep into your memory banks and see if you can recall a group called 2 Live Crew. That is right. That is 2 Live Crew. The notorious rap group from the 90s in particular, that famously necessitated, an obscenity ruling, right? In front of the Supreme Court. Like, Supreme Court is that wild and that legendary as far as music history and legal things are concerned. So, imagine my surprise happened upon an interview with Luther Campbell of 2 Live Crew fame, but better known as Uncle Luke, right? Luke was like the original OG party boy in Miami, the poster boy for the wild Miami lifestyle. And Luke, on an interview, proceeds to tell a story about how back in the early 90s, he, Eddie Murphy, and a few other celebrities got invited to a party at Mar-a-Lago, and that the party was so wild, which, by the way, had no music, which... odd fact, but more importantly, was so populated with girls who were clearly underage that Luke was like, nope, this shit's too wild for me. I'm gonna be out. Yeah, that happened. And then last but not least, the head of the Department of Health and Human Services, Senor Brainworm himself, RFK Jr., went onto a podcast and gave one of the most unexpected interviews I would have thought from a man in his position. Now, granted, the man did have a brainworm, and I can't emphasize that enough because it's disturbing and funny, but also that this is the man in charge of general well-being. Now, remember, don't forget, there are measles outbreaks happening right now. Measles, the thing that had been largely kind of eradicated. Back with a vengeance here in the States. Anyways, in an interview with the podcaster Theo Vaughn, RFK Jr. apparently states at one point that he's not really scared about germs because, and I quote, I used to snort coke off of toilet seats. Let that sink in. Like I said, remove yourself from the reality and just steer into the absurdity, because that shit, if you weren't living it, is really fucking funny. Anyways, it's Monday. Maybe you're working, maybe you're not. But regardless, as these stories even show, funny as they are, there's still enough reason and fuel to justify your rage and for you to rise the fuck up.